Welcome into another weekly LNP Lancaster Online Sports Roundtable. I am reporter John Walk. On the horn with us today, my colleague Mike Gross, along with Penn Manor football coach John Brubaker and Annville-Cleona football coach Matt Gingrich. We thought we'd have these guys on today. We originally reached out to them a couple weeks ago thinking that this might be going into what should have been kind of the first week of heat acclimation practices, and that obviously hasn't happened. Thought it'd be worthwhile to bring them on still, just to kind of pick their brains on what these last few months have been like, how they've been adjusting in regards to kind of the start of the season being pushed back, etc. So with that, I'll throw it to Mike for the first question.
Okay, welcome, guys. I guess I was going to say, I was going to start with, why do you guys think it's a good idea to play? Which I guess assumes that you do think that. So I should start with it, maybe with that. Do you guys think it's a good idea to play this fall? And if so, why? Matt, go ahead. You're the man.
Well, I was very blessed growing up. We had a different upbringing, lost my dad at an early age and had a lot of people. My mom was amazing, married an amazing man. And, I had 4 coaches in my life that pretty much got me to where I am today. Without them, I don't think I'd be the type of person I am. I don't think I'd be the type of dad I am. I don't think I'd be the type of husband I am. We spend a lot of our time not coaching football. So I'd say 90% of my time at a small school, and we're considered to be a very good school, but we have about 40% free and reduced kids. Last year, I graduated 22 kids, and I don't think more than 7 of them went to college. A lot of these kids, they've got life hitting them in the face right away, and they need us. If they're not with us, I don't know who they're with, and I think we're an outlet for these kids. At Annville-Cleona, over 60% of our kids do extracurricular activities, whether it's band, FFA, anything like that. Yeah. And without those things, I would say probably half of those kids don't finish school.
Wow.
John,
little different situation, bigger school. Your thoughts?
Yeah, but a lot of the same things apply. And, I echo a little bit of what Matt has said there as well. The school, and I agree, I think these kids need an opportunity to have a season. And to play sports again. Obviously, we're football coaches, so we want to play football. But kids desire that social interaction with one another. Extracurriculars provide that. Co-curriculars provide that too at schools. Just a connection. Along with that connection, then provides a layer of accountability, whether it's eligibility-wise or behavior. A lot of code of conducts are enforced there. But I think student athletes want that structure. They thrive in a structured environment, and ultimately, I think it allows them to do a lot better in school. And Matt kind of alluded to that too. I mean, I fear for some of our kids if they don't have fall sports. I fear for them and their start of school, and a lot of things are going to look different. We talked about things looking different, and there's a lot of things we can't control. But there are some certain things we can control, and that's how we prepare and get ready for a season. I think also athletes kind of have built into them a little bit. They understand how to handle adversity. That's part of what they learn in sports. And I think they'll be able to handle restarting, even if it looks differently. School looks differently. Sports will be different. Social distancing, wearing a mask, spraying stuff down with disinfectant, all that kind of stuff. Kids can handle that. I think kids are ready for sports. I think they're more ready for sports than they are for school to start. But that's my opinion right now.
Well, I just thought of this listening to both of you guys talk. The college football. Who knows what's going to happen with college football? But that's a little different in that if they don't play this fall, Penn State's and Ohio State's and whoever's football players are still going to have that daily structure of being in their program and having their day kind of build around that, which you guys can't, that's not the same thing. That's a big difference between high school and college, right?
You're exactly right. I get to be with about 40 kids, and then our junior high is at our high school. So I've got about 70, 75 kids that I interact with a day. And And like you said, I mean, I tell them all the time already when we're working out or anything like that. I said, hey, here's the plan going forward. There's a great chance by tomorrow morning, this is going to be completely different. And it's great for them to learn because, as a dad and a husband and a worker, when I come in the next day and everything's completely turned on its head, it's okay because I'm used to adversity. I'm used to not being able to control a lot. We talk about controlling the controllables and it's been great. I think our kids have really grown from this situation. I haven't had one kid that have come up to me and said, well, why, this isn't fair. This is unfair. That this should, you just got to deal with what you got. And it's a big thing. These high school kids, without having co-curriculars, a lot of times they don't learn this.
Up until this point, you guys have basically been doing voluntary off-season workouts, but they've looked different than years past, obviously. Can you just kind of take us inside a little bit and give us an idea of what those workouts have looked like, given the precautions that you're taking into account?
Yeah, I mean,
John, you can go first.
Thank you. So it's evolved. I mean, we had workouts that began early July once school boards approved sports teams getting back together. So that was the first we were able to get together. Prior to that, the big challenge was, getting kids connected with in a group or with some people that had weight equipment or had training equipment. We had a lot of great parents move some weights around and get some local places set up, but that still didn't take care of 100% of the kids, but it was something. But then once we got back into action in July, things started to look a little more normal. Penn Manor is undergoing, complete rebuilding.
All right.
And that's hit us also. So we haven't had a gym to train in. So our weight equipment's in storage lockers, which we pull out every day and use. So yeah, adversity, that's fine. You know what? Our kids adapted fine, and they work like animals regardless. So that's part of what we've dealt with. Certainly the distance learning and connecting with the kids. The need to connect with them online was a challenge. I really wasn't built for that, but I learned how to do it, and it worked out pretty good. I believe our online meetings, throughout the spring when we were out of school, actually became very valuable. We were able to meet and go over our playbook and some film and things on Huddle and things like that. So there's a learning process there, but in my mind, nothing beats being in person.
Matt?
Yeah, and for us, this is a strange year, kind of like John. I mean, he has a whole new stadium, whole new school. We lost 22 seniors. We had 3 kids that are moving. We lost Lebanon Catholic. Lebanon Catholic closed, so we lost 3 kids from there. And then we have 2 kids that are not going to play with COVID situations, like with home life and people that are susceptible. So we're losing about 30 kids out of a 37-man roster. So it was naturally going to be very difficult to begin with. But if you're as the head, understanding and relax and understand this is how it's going to be, the kids go with the flow. So we did some Zoom meetings in June. They went well. The kids were great with that. And then we started in July, and we learned some really good things this year. We might change our workouts. We might only start our workouts in July. The kids have been here every day. We've been working them in hour rotations because we can only have 10 people in an area at a time. And the kids have been getting their workouts in an hour instead of an hour and a half and 2 hours. And it's been great. So we're very pleased with what we have. It's just different.
How do you think, let's talk about football on the field a little bit here. How do you think all of this will impact the games, the actual games, if you guys play this fall? Will you have to shorten the playbook at all? Will like pure speed or pure athleticism trump everything a little more? I mean, what do you think will happen?
So I got a couple things off in my head. I think your older team. So like if this happened to us last year, my team would have been fine. With how old they were. I think you got to really stick to what you do well and make sure that you do a couple things and do them better than anyone else. One thing that we're lucky with is we run triple option, and we run the same offense in 7th grade. Our kids from 7th grade on do the exact same thing. So they know pretty much what they're doing already before we get there. So those things help. And then there's certain things that won't help you. The working out will be different. You got to make sure, like I worry a couple things is what happens if a kid comes down with a sickness? Like even if it's a flu, are they going to keep him out of school for 2 weeks? So, if you don't have 4 quarterbacks, I don't trust it unless you have 4 or 5 quarterbacks that are ready to go. And the kids, we talk about it with them. Look, all 40 of you better be ready to start because you might be starting tomorrow and you're all going to be playing because not everyone's in shape.
That's true. Yeah. John.
Yeah. So we have a situation. We were more young last year. So I have 19 seniors this year. So the leadership from older group of kids is really critical. That has helped. We're able to put our kids in some different teams and different groups, and the seniors were, had some leadership ability to kind of connect and keep those kids involved and on task. So having an older group of kids, or at least having a nucleus of older kids, certainly helps in these times because, let's face it, they're able to learn leadership skills along the way, and that's really critical. Sports provides that. So as far as what it's going to look like on the field, I don't know. I guess we all got to figure that out. I know kids will be bringing their own water bottles like they've been to workouts, and we'll be spread out further. And it's going to be weird without a lot of noise. I know that. Even watching a little bit of professional sports on TV, it's like they try to put fake crowd noise in there, but nothing. Sports are made for crowds and cheering crowds, and the lack of that is certainly everybody's going to have to watch their mouths on the sideline,
But you guys can go from the 10-yard line to the 10-yard line, right? So you can coach the hell out of them now, right? It's almost like a basketball coach.
Only the players can. I heard we only can go 25 to 25. The players can, but we still got to stay in the box.
I misunderstood that, I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm sure
John brought up about those things. My kids are water boys for us, and it's not like they can hand out water anymore. They're going to have to do it like the NFL where you spray it in their mouths. Like you can't have those type of things during a game. So everything that you've ever thought and become accustomed to completely changes.
It makes me wonder then, like, are your players taking a knee so your little kids can reach up high enough just to get them the water? It's going to just look weird.
Well, they better, because if not, they're going to be wearing it on their shirts.
All right. As far as, okay, what do you guys do now? Is it basically just telling your players, okay, we're in a holding pattern for the time being and just continue with the voluntary workouts as you have been until you can get that green light? Is this essentially what we're doing?
It might be what we're doing. I'm not sure that's the message I've been giving our kids. We've been pretty focused on getting ready for game 1, and then game 1 changed, so we have a new opponent for game 1. Our week 1's now Warwick instead of Conestoga Valley. But nonetheless, that's been our focus with the kids. I'm sure they follow the news and they hear enough from their parents about stuff that's going on. But we've been pretty laser focused for the start of the season. I don't think you can kind of be in a holding pattern. I don't think you can wait and see. We have to prepare like, we are playing. I'm pretty confident that we're gonna. So that's the message we've been giving to the kids.
We've just been focusing on ourselves, and like John said about an opponent, they look at the schedule and like, I'm like, look, you're going to wake up tomorrow and there's a good chance that we might have someone different. So just don't even worry about them, worry about ourselves. And I'll believe it when we either travel somewhere or whenever someone comes to us and we actually play them. I don't trust any of that until it actually is that day and someone shows up. But our kids have been just working out, and we started doing some more team stuff where we're still individuals, but we're learning the concepts that we're trying to do for this upcoming year, and just trying to prepare them for whatever week 1 is and whenever week 1 is.
Guys, I'm going to say it's 5-6 weeks ago, I saw something, an article or something where some company had designed a face shield that could be worn like with the face guard and the helmet that looked to me like Well, that looks like a pretty good idea. Like it would greatly decrease the risk of the sort of close contact that you're obviously going to have in football. And then I didn't see anything else about that. I haven't seen anything about it since ever I originally saw it. Do you guys know anything about that? And is there anything, equipment, technology that's kind of new that you're going to have to mitigate this, to deal with this, to do cleaning? I mean, is there any stuff new that we haven't seen before?
It's funny you bring this up because I love to talk about this whenever I can. Football is not football from when even I played. I was a lineman my entire life. So I never touched a football. I never did anything. Even in college, I was a lineman or something like that my entire life. I never once worried about any type of transmission of no one ever spit on me. That just didn't happen. And nowadays, the way our practices are structured, it used to be when I played for Coach Carpenter, we hit 4 times a week, if not 5, for 12 weeks. And then spring ball was even tougher than fall practice. High school football, I mean, especially at a small school, we make contact 1 time a week, and that's on a Friday night. Like, these kids are in a pretty good shape. They understand what we're doing. The only thing that we're going to change is, I don't know. It's going to be like midget football. They're taking their stuff home every night. They're going to have a place to put it in the locker room for the day, but there's not going to be any storage. They're going to take it home. We've got stuff for helmet cleaner and shoulder pad cleaners. The expectation is that they clean everything every night, and they come back. And we'll have some kids that are going to be online schooling. Like, we're kind of doing that hybrid, like I'm sure everyone is. We're going to see kids riding their bike up to the high school in their shoulder pads and helmets, and they're going to think they're 8 to 10 years old kids again.
True.
I mean, we're doing the exact same thing. Our kids are going to meet in person in school 2 days a week. So the other 3 days, they're going to have to figure out how to get to practice. If they don't drive, there's transportation issues. We're talking about maybe having an activity bus run from our middle school. So if they at least live closer to, say, Mardig Middle School, they can catch that bus and ride up. So some of those transportation issues that are different. We, too, are not going to use a locker room or have one right now physically, but if we did, we wouldn't be using it. And so kids have their travel bags and they're going to be lugging their stuff around. So moms are going to love that because the homes are going to stink. Garages are going to smell. The cars are going to as well. But and that's probably happened a little bit throughout the summer here with all the carpooling. But we've done a ton of disinfecting too. I mean, I like to say that works. I hope it works. We've been using it by the spray bottle. It's bigger than what I spray my weeds with at home, and you pump it up and spray everything off. And I don't know. I guess that's going to be used somewhat during games too. I don't know how that's all going to work, but from what I understand, it is. But certainly different. And but hey, we adapt, we move forward, and do what we can do right now.
And I think those masks are great in theory, but honestly, like, it's not there. That kind of stuff doesn't really happen as much as you really think it does.
Yeah, and what about the cost? I mean, I don't even know. I mean, I don't know much about it. I'm just saying it's something I saw that looked intriguing. That's all. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I think it looks like it. I just don't know how. Like, I don't even know if people are going to do it. The other one is you got a lot of fog issues. I wouldn't want to wear one of those when it's about 95 degrees out.
Right. And I also don't know if our equipment company would even approve them being on. I know sometimes they threaten not to cover the warranty of something, so to speak, if you put an aftermarket part on there, so to speak. Right. But hey, if there is something that comes out and it does prove valuable and it pushes the sport forward, then we'll get them and use them. But not quite sure in the mask. I guess that are the shields. We'd have to see them and try them out, I guess, and have them approved, so to speak.
Right.
I guess just last thing for me, and then we'll get out of here. You guys are football coaches. I'm sure you're trying to keep the morale of your players up while also not worrying about what's going on behind the scenes, if you're going to play, when you're going to play, how that looks with the different circumstances. I guess just lastly, could you just kind of give us, I don't know, maybe a message that you're relaying to your players just to kind of give us hope, at least for a season, or at least what's the I don't know, parting words that you can kind of share with parents and players here as far as just kind of staying focused on what you can control? Matt.
Well, you pretty much said it at the end. Control the controllables. You wake up every day, you work your butt off, and if you worked as hard as you can, you go to sleep and you try and do it again the next day. And that's one of the biggest things why having football is very important, because you've got 6, 7, 8, 10 guys that have been through it, that are older, that can show these kids, hey, it's not perfect. Life isn't perfect, but just to have the opportunity to play a couple games, I don't care if they give me 5, 6, 4, to be able to be together and overcome obstacles and learn these, characteristics that will help them when they're 55 and a dad or a grandpa or something like that. I think we're going to have a season. I really look forward to our season. I think it's going to be a great season. And I think kids and parents are going to be grateful just to have any type of interaction and any type of competition.
True.
Yeah, it's great, Matt, and I agree with a lot of that as well. We've been with a lot of the online meetings and things like that, doing some leadership things and some team building things and some goal setting. So those things are pretty ingrained in the kids' heads right now, and where we want to head with things, and safety wise and just a message to the kids and parents. I think we can control the environment in a high school sport a lot better than these kids that are out running around doing club sports right now. And there's a ton of that going on. So we have restrictions in place. We have guidelines in place. And I think we're going to be a lot safer doing our fall high school sports than a club team that's going to meet up somewhere and travel and do a tournament with teams from all over the place. At least in our area, most of us are playing local teams. So, between Lancaster and Lebanon, we're not traveling all over the state or out of state for tournaments. So I think it's the best solution right now to have our PIAA sports, to have our local sports teams compete.
Drew, I think if Bob Lombardi watches this, he will invite you to go along with him tomorrow to talk to Governor Wolf. That sounds like really close to the PIAA's point, which is a good point. Yeah.
It's fun, John. I was thinking about that too. I live close to In the Net, and I drive by there all the time, and I just shake my head because like you said, we're going to be playing teams right around here. We know where the kids are. We know what they're doing. We know we can trace their contacts and everything like that. It's a lot safer of a situation than what you're looking at for most of the non-school related activities.
Well, this was really educational for me, just kind of learning the steps that you guys as coaches are going to take with players as far as taking equipment home, not going in locker rooms. That's stuff that we haven't really reached that point of delving into what that looks like.
Yeah, that might be a story, John. How about it?
Yeah, and if a parent or I don't know, a school administrator listens to this or looks at that information, because now I'm like, oh yeah, I guess we could do it that safely and kind of pull that off with those restrictions in a way. So it kind of does give me hope in a sense. And just lastly for me, I mean, it's nice seeing familiar faces here. These last 5 months have been hard on everybody, and just kind of seeing you guys face to face here a little bit has been kind of reassuring, and hopefully we can kind of see you out there on a field here soon. So best of luck moving forward. Thanks for joining us today. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a great night.
I'm glad it was a slow news week for you guys.
Rock and roll. See you guys.